Hello and welcome to episode 3 of the Nissan Stagea NM35 VQ direct injection turbo rebuild. This is just getting back into the disassembling with removing the water reservoir to get better access to the rest of the radiator core. So this will be pretty much the third and final of the series where I was specifically repairing the vehicle and adding new parts. A lot of the repairable write-off certification and extra safety repairs that had to be done by a mechanic were done at a mechanic, and the safety cert was done through a mechanic as well, but I saved a bit of money with labour by replacing some of the new parts that I had ordered, and namely the radiator core and the new radiator. The damage from the front end impact had pierced the old radiator, and that was primarily the main damage after inspecting everything. I took apart all the intake, and I didn't actually remove anything to do with I disassembled the oil radiator or the oil cooler, but I didn't actually mess around with any of the connections. I just kind of disassembled it in a way that I didn't need to touch any of the internal fittings or the fittings that were attached to the engine as such. Other than obviously the coolant pipe that was needing to be reattached once the radiator was replaced. Being that this was the first time that I've ever done this kind of extensive mechanical work in the past, it was it was a bit of a learning curve, and I guess you could say that I had to kind of stop and look at things with a bit of a critical eye before, changing anything or making any, irrational decisions that could lead to further damage to the car. So I was quite methodical with how I went about, moving things around. So here I've pretty much replaced taken all the radiator core off and getting things ready. So I retired for the night because it was too dark, but I'm pretty much ready to go with all the parts that I needed to wait for. The car was under covers, so I think this day I had all the parts ready to go and I was ready to start replacing everything. So I believe here I'm removing the radiator fan. I wasn't sure. Like a lot of people do mods where they completely remove this clutch fan from the engine and just have it capped and just have independent electric fans on the radiator instead of using or relying on the clutch fan as such. I just decided to go down the route that it was originally in the original configuration, just because I wanted to keep it as how it was when before the crash essentially. and I knew, an electric fan, I'm not the best with electric components. It took me a while to even get the turbo timer sorted or dialed in with this car as well, so um, I kind of shy away from any electrical work if possible. So a lot of my concerns with disassembling or changing things around was making sure not to puncture the air condenser, the AC condenser in between the radiator and the radiator core support. I think that's it in the view. That's sitting right there in plain view. That is the radiator, the AC condenser, still all wired up, and so I was quite happy that I didn't have to, pierce or change anything with the AC condenser. There's a main concern that, another thing that I would have had to fix in the journey of getting this car operational or operable. So I think I got a G35 radiator core or something, or like a VQ25 radiator. The radiator core was from a Stagea, I believe, but it's made with a composite fiberglass, so it's not very heavy, but it had been left out in the sun, so the clear film that normally keeps that fiberglass kind of smooth and I guess stops it from kind of splintering or sharding when it's handled was gone. It was kind of heat damaged, so it was quite annoying having to handle that radiator core on and off because of the fiberglass irritation that would cause on the skin that didn't have the gloves on it. So what happened here? Looks as though I must have got the radiator. Oh. So I must not have filmed every part of the repairs, but this part is the last part that I filmed before the car was turned over again. And this is how it sounds. This is obviously, it was, needing to be bapped with all the coolant that would have been replaced in the radiator, but I think I was also just checking the brake lights in this video as well, just to make sure that there wasn't any extra lights or any other things that needed to be replaced, I guess. And I believe in this video I give the car a little bit more of a rev. I wasn't sure if the turbo needed to be replaced, but it seemed to be spooling okay, but it might have been not spooling ideally due to maybe not being used in a while. I think the more I drove it, the easier the turbo flooded and spooled, I guess, so there wasn't really too much of a need to investigate the turbo further. and it was also assessed by the mechanic when it went in for the safety certificate and the final parts of the repairable write-off, certifying it essentially. And this is just some nice happy videos of my cats and my other Stagea that was my kind of daily before it came to another fatal accident. But that's it for the rebuild as such. That's kind of the video, how the car looked after the rebuild, and I sourced the ARX front bumper. I've definitely got more videos of me driving it on the track and other kind of events, and also just more photos and videos of the day-to-day driving of it, and a few pulls as well. So if you like this, and yeah, give me a comment and share and subscribe and let me know you want more, and I'll do so. Thanks for watching.